Over 69 million vehicle breakdowns hit U.S. roads every year. Many start with rough idling or sudden stalling issues affecting both gasoline and diesel engines. Idle faults also burn money. A truck wastes 1 gallon of diesel per hour idling, while a car wastes a fifth of a gallon. When idle goes bad, one tiny part is often to blame for the idle air control valve. Here are 7 symptoms ranked from severe to minor. Number 1. Engine won't start. When the idle air control valve fails completely, the engine may crank but never start. The valve sticks closed, cutting off airflow the engine needs to mix fuel correctly. With too little air, the mixture floods the cylinders, preventing ignition. You might get a brief sputter that dies instantly. Pressing the accelerator can force extra air temporarily, but this only masks the issue. Cleaning carbon deposits inside the valve can help restore function, though a seized or burned-out valve needs full replacement to allow proper idle air supply and dependable cold starts again. Number 2. Engine stalls at idle. An IAC valve that doesn't open properly can't maintain the airflow required to sustain idle. When you release the gas, air supply drops, the RPM falls sharply, and the engine dies at stoplights or in traffic. Drivers often restart several times on short trips. Keeping your foot slightly on the gas can hold idle artificially, but this strains the drivetrain. Cleaning the IAC passage and throttle, bore usually removes carbon blockage that restricts air. If idle remains unstable afterward, replacing the worn valve and checking for small vacuum leaks usually restores smooth, steady idling performance. Number 3. Stalls. When accessories are on, turning on the AC, heater, or steering sharply draws extra engine load. The IAC should open wider to offset that demand, keeping the idle steady. A sluggish or dirty valve reacts too slowly, airflow lags, and the engine falters or stalls once accessories engage. Drivers often notice the idle dip as lights dim or steering gets heavy. Turning off accessories allows temporary recovery. Cleaning both the IAC and throttle plate to remove soot or grime restores responsiveness. If the engine still stalls under load, the IAC's actuator may have weakened and needs direct replacement to stabilize idle. Number 4. High idle speed. A stuck open idle air control valve lets too much air bypass the throttle, causing the engine to idle far above normal, sometimes 1500 RPM or higher. The car may creep forward in gear, waste fuel, and create harsh shifts. Momentary relief comes from tapping the pedal, which can jolt the valve free, though it rarely lasts. The root issue is a valve jammed by carbon or internal wear, keeping its pintle extended. Cleaning the IAC housing and throttle, bore often restores correct closure. If the idle remains elevated, installing a new valve prevents excess air leakage and fuel overconsumption. Number 5. Rough idle and vibration. An uneven or shaky idle occurs when the IAC valve delivers inconsistent airflow. Some cylinders receive more air-fuel mix while others starve, creating vibration through the chassis. The computer attempts constant correction, causing RPM fluctuations that worsen the shake. Dirt and residue on the valve pintle restrict smooth motion. Spraying throttle body cleaner into the intake and idle passages can dissolve these deposits, restoring balanced airflow. If the vibration remains after cleaning, internal electrical faults may be disrupting valve movement. Replacing the IAC ensures consistent air regulation, smooth combustion, and stable idle under all temperature conditions again. Number 6. Fluctuating or hunting idle. A hunting idle happens when RPM repeatedly climbs and drops at stops. A sticking IAC valve sends uneven airflow signals, making the computer overcorrect, opening too wide, then closing too far. The engine alternates between surging and bogging, even without throttle input. Drivers often hear the revs rise and fall rhythmically. Cleaning the IAC and its passages removes the grime, causing delayed response. If electrical wear or internal binding persists, installing a new unit ends the erratic behavior. Reconnecting any loose wiring also prevents voltage drops that mimic bad valve control and stops unnecessary surging during idle cycles. Number 7. Check engine light with idle problems. A glowing check engine light combined with rough idle signals that the engine computer detects unstable airflow. The IAC may be clogged, electrically shorted, or failing to respond to commands, leaving the ECU unable to regulate idle speed correctly. The computer records this mismatch and turns on the warning light. Inspecting the IAC's connector for corrosion or a loose pin often reveals the fault. Cleaning contact points and sealing cracked vacuum hoses can clear the light after several drive cycles. When mechanical or electrical failure remains, replacing the IAC resets proper idle control and eliminates warning alerts.